what? People always have something to say. Welcome to the world of celebrities, where Claressa is making sure that everyone knows where she stands. She is no longer remaining silent and observing from the sidelines. Instead, she has entered the center of everything and is prepared for whatever comes next. If you have been following this situation, you are already aware that Remy and Papoose romance is failing. They were once a couple that people looked up to, but now things are getting worse. Claressa Shields is serious, and the situation between her and Papoose is becoming more unstable after rumors surfaced that Remy had cheated. Papoose, who had always been a faithful husband, made it clear that he would no longer put up with games just when it appeared that he was ready to move on. Remy had something to say, and she began making remarks that demonstrated her displeasure with Papoose's new life. At first, she pretended not to care, but it was obvious that she was upset. She even made lighthearted remarks about Papoose, saying things like, "Who cooks better, me or Papoose? He cannot cook anything." Claressa heard these remarks, so she didn't remain silent, but instead responded. Fans began to take sides, with some believing that Remy was the one who started this mess and others thinking that Papoose was moving on too quickly. For years, people believed that Papoose and Remy were the ideal couple, the kind of love that lasts forever. But now that their story is coming to an end, it is evident that Claressa is not afraid of Remy and will not tolerate her rude behavior. People didn't back down when they first learned that Remy might not have been faithful. They recall how Papoose had supported her during her 6 years in prison, taking care of their family, and even marrying her while she was still incarcerated. Most people wouldn't wait 6 months, but he gave her 6 years. And what did he get in return? The first major clue that something was wrong was when Remy failed to wish him a happy Father's Day. This was a man who had supported her, raised their daughter, and always showed his love. But she couldn't even take 5 seconds to wish him a happy Father's Day. In order to let the world know that their happy marriage was over, Papoose posted a family photo on Instagram without Remy in it. Instead of waiting for Remy to explain, he didn't say much, but his actions spoke louder than words. Now that everything is public knowledge, many people think that Remy took Papoose for granted and assumed he would always be there. But now that he is finally moving on, she is acting like the victim. Fans are supporting Papoose, saying that he deserves better and calling out Remy for losing a man who was always faithful to her. Things got even messier when Remy began leaking private messages between Papoose and Claressa instead of keeping them private. She thought this would make him look bad, but instead, it made her look bitter. One of the leaked messages showed Claressa telling Papoose, "You are the one who is married. If you cannot even sleep on the phone with me or let me know you made it home safely, then what are we doing?" Remy thought this would turn people against Papoose, but instead of making him look bad, it made her appear desperate. She'd attempted to alter the facts to make it seem like Papoose was involved with Claressa while they were still together. Remy claimed that she discovered the messages while talking to Claressa on the phone after Papoose fell asleep at her house. However, this is where things became even more shocking. When Claressa realized what Remy was trying to do, she did not remain silent and instead accused Remy of cheating first, not just once but multiple times. She made it clear that Remy should not play the victim when, let's face it, she was the one who was being dishonest the entire time. This is exactly what people expected from Remy, and rather than owning up to her mistakes, she is attempting to paint Papoose as the bad guy. Papoose, who is normally a private person and dislikes sharing his problems online, decided to set the record straight after Remy spoke out. He said that he had been asking for a divorce for a long time, but Remy did not want to accept it. However, even though he could not keep quiet this time, the internet is now closely watching because Remy may have just made things worse for herself. She may have thought she was exposing Papoose, but Claressa stood her ground, making it appear as though Remy has chosen a battle she cannot win after remaining silent for months. Papoose is now making everything public, and people are wondering what really happened between him and Remy. Now that he is speaking the truth, it is obvious that he has had enough. He recently stated that he is done with Remy completely and has been trying to get a divorce. but she won't sign the paperwork. As a result, people are wondering why Remy isn't letting him go. Papoose even wrote on Instagram that Remy Ma is a narcissist who has cheated on him numerous times. Now that he has moved on, she is acting like the victim. She refuses to handle this like an adult. I didn't want to go public because of my daughter, but I've had enough. That one message changed everything. It showed that Remy had been acting as though Papoose had abruptly left her, but that wasn't the case. Papoose made it clear that he was trying to end things officially, and Remy was the one who stopped it. This isn't even new. Last year, rumors surfaced that she was getting too close to battle rapper Easy the Block Captain. At first, she dismissed it as inconsequential, but the more people looked into it, the more evident it became. Now, it all makes sense if Papoose was already attempting to get a divorce because he was aware of what was happening. What really won people over to him was the fact that he has always been quiet and respectful. He never seeks attention online, and even when the rumors about Remy began, he remained silent. Now that he is speaking up, it is obvious that he no longer wants anything to do with her. Many fans feel sorry for Papoose because they know how much he put into this relationship. He supported Remy through everything, especially when she was incarcerated. He remained faithful, took care of their daughter, fought for her release, and supported her career. The fact that Papoose is so private makes his public statements even more shocking. If he felt the need to speak out, then things must have really gotten bad. His message showed that he tried to handle things quietly, but Remy kept playing games. People are angry because they saw him in a situation where she was trying to make him look bad. In the past, she always talked about loyalty and honesty in relationships, but now it seems like she did not follow her own advice. Papoose has always been known as an honest person, but Remy has not really addressed any of this and has not made a clear statement to refute what Papoose is saying. Instead, she continues to act as though she was wrong, which is making matters worse for her because she is not providing any evidence to support her claims. If she had any solid proof that Papoose was lying, she would have shared it by now, but instead, she is avoiding the subject and attempting to change the narrative. The problem is that people are not buying into it. It's difficult for people to support her, and the longer she drags this out, the worse it looks for her. Their daughter is caught in the middle, and Papoose made it clear that he wanted to keep things private for her sake, but Remy kept making things worse. This indicates that Papoose was thinking about their family and trying to be respectful. He probably hoped they could work things out behind closed doors, but since she refused to cooperate, he had no choice but to speak up. Now that all of their personal issues are in the public eye, and their daughter will eventually witness it all, this could have been prevented if Remy had simply handled things like an adult, rather than trying to act like the victim. Papoose's decision to move on has become a hot topic, and people are wondering who he is dating now. But that is not the real issue. Instead, the real question is why Remy is making such an effort to hold on to someone she claims is not good for her. If she really thinks Papoose is the bad guy, then why is she refusing to sign the divorce papers? This is confusing to many people. Some think she is having a hard time accepting the consequences of her own actions, while Papoose is not. In retrospect, he has made it clear that he is done with the relationship and ready to move on. Fans are supporting him, saying that he deserves better, and many people think that he has been too patient and is now only looking out for himself. The internet is rooting for him, with people posting encouraging messages on his social media accounts. Some even referring to this as his freedom era, saying that he can finally live his life without being trapped in a toxic situation. Remy's reputation is rapidly shifting. She was once praised for her strength and self-assurance, but now many people are criticizing her for not accepting responsibility, feeling that the situation demonstrates that she betrayed Papoose instead of appreciating his loyalty and assumed there would be no repercussions. Now that the truth is out, she's attempting to control the damage. But the internet never forgets, and her previous statements about loyalty are coming back to haunt her. Some of her fans are still defending her, but their arguments are weak and lack concrete evidence to back up their claims. The more she avoids discussing the situation directly, the worse it gets. At this point, the best thing she could do is accept responsibility and move on. But given the way things are going, it appears Papoose has made it clear that he does not want to make amends, so it is only a matter of time until the divorce occurs. Until then, the internet will continue to watch and discuss every new detail. This entire situation serves as a reminder that no matter how hard someone tries to keep things private, the truth always comes out. Papoose spent years avoiding drama and keeping his personal life off social media, but even he was unable to remain silent forever. When someone like him who has always been private finally speaks out, it indicates that things have become really serious. He is now at the point where he is no longer protecting Remy's reputation and is ready to move on with his life. It is evident that he has stopped waiting, stopped hoping, and stopped believing that things could ever return to how they were. This is hitting Remy hard, and for the first time, she is truly panicking and beginning to realize that Papoose is gone for good. Many people now understand his side, and they are viewing Remy differently. If she was trying to make Papoose look bad, she failed miserably and has only made herself appear worse. Now she must deal with the consequences of her own actions. Battle through loyalty and betrayal, but now people are wondering if this is really the end of Papoose and Remy love story, which was once regarded as one of the strongest in hip-hop. It appears that Remy is not ready to let go, even though Papoose has obviously moved on. The reason for this is that Remy does not want to face the consequences of her actions, and Papoose has already made his final decision. Once he makes up his mind, there is no turning back. This time, however, things are different, and he is not looking back, adding to the drama. Battle rapper Easy the Block Captain, who has been linked to Remy, finally spoke out. What he said made things even more complicated. For months, people have been wondering if there was more to his relationship with Remy than just work, and the whispers, rumors, and small clues all pointed in the same direction. However, Easy now claims that Papoose was aware of it the entire time and was not taken by surprise. He was suspicious and had begun piecing things together long before the internet even began discussing it. Then Easy shocked everyone by claiming that Papoose had been surreptitiously listening to Remy's conversations to gather evidence of his suspicions. The real surprise came next. According to Easy, Papoose had allegedly been watching Remy for months. He wasn't just listening to rumors from others. He was conducting his own investigation and making sure he had solid proof before taking any action. He even put a recording device in Remy's car to listen to her private conversations without her knowledge. Predictably, the internet erupted in reactions. This wasn't just a messy breakup anymore. It was about betrayal, trust, and the lengths someone would go to find the truth. Some people commended Papoose for his intelligence and for making sure he had proof before making any accusations, while others felt that recording his wife's conversations and spying on her was too drastic. They said that if he was that suspicious, he should have simply left rather than surreptitiously gathering information. However, many pointed out that if he had left without proof, there would have been doubts, and people would have questioned his motivations. Now there is no doubt that he has all the proof he needed, which is why he was able to move on without hesitation. Now everyone is waiting to see what happens next. Will Remy finally accept that it is over? Or will she continue to try to maintain a relationship that is already broken? One thing is for sure though, Papoose is not turning back. Easy continued to share more details, making it clear that he had sensed something was off long before everything went public. He claimed that Papoose never confronted him directly, but his behavior began to change. At first, he thought it was just typical industry drama. Rappers constantly have conflicts and miscommunications, but as he looked back, he realized that Papoose had been closely observing him, waiting for the right opportunity to catch Remy making a mistake. This realization struck him hard because it wasn't just a simple argument or misunderstanding. It was something much deeper. The idea that Papoose had been recording Remy's conversations and placing devices in her car changed everything. If he had gone that far, it meant he had been suspicious for a long time, and if that was the case, Remy might have been playing both sides for much longer than anyone had thought. The big question now was how long this had actually been going on. Was it something new, or had Remy been betraying Papoose for years? Fans had differing opinions. Some believed Papoose was wise to protect himself in the entertainment industry, where reputation is everything, as gathering evidence of his actions could be extremely damaging. For years, Remy had relied on his loyalty. He had always defended her, stayed by her side, and made sacrifices to keep their relationship strong. However, others felt that spying on his wife was too much, regardless of what she had done. They argued that if trust is broken to that extent, then the relationship is already over. If you have to listen to private conversations and track someone's movements, then there is no point in staying together. The way people perceive Remy also changed. Rather than being seen as a strong, independent woman with a devoted husband, she was now viewed as someone who had taken that devotion for granted. The internet did not hold back, and people began looking at old interviews, song lyrics, and past moments in an attempt to find evidence that this had been happening all along. Fans pointed out that Papoose had always spoken about his loyalty to Remy, even when she was in prison, but when it came time for her to remain loyal, she failed. As the drama went on, people began to wonder about Easy the Block Captain's involvement in all of this. Was he simply caught in the middle, or was he more involved than he was admitting? His decision to finally speak out raised suspicions about why he was adding to an already chaotic situation. Some thought he was doing so to clear his name and demonstrate that he was not the one who started anything, while others thought he was using it to garner attention because he was now linked to one of the biggest scandals in hip-hop. Remy was the only person still holding on to Papoose, who had already moved on in his mind, but she seemed unable to accept that it was really over. Perhaps she didn't realize how much she had hurt him, or perhaps she believed that his love would outweigh the betrayal. But it was obvious that Papoose had made up his mind, and once he does, there is no way to go back. If you've been following this intense saga between Papoose, Remy Ma, and Claressa Shields, you know it's more than just a breakup. It's a story of loyalty, betrayal, and heartbreak that has left fans divided. Papoose, once celebrated as the epitome of a loyal husband, is now navigating the painful end of a relationship he dedicated years to, while Remy Ma faces the consequences of her actions. And with Claressa stepping into the spotlight, the drama has only intensified. But whose side are you on? Do you think Papoose was right to expose the truth and finally speak out after years of silence? Or do you believe Remy Ma still deserves a chance to explain her side? And what about Claressa? Was she right to stand her ground and call out the dishonesty? This story has everything: love, betrayal, and the messy aftermath of a public breakup. And as more details unfold, one thing is clear: fans can't get enough of the drama. If you're as invested in this story as we are, don't miss out on the latest updates. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. Do you think Papoose and Remy Ma's love story is truly over? Or is there still hope for reconciliation? Stay tuned for more juicy updates, behind-the-scenes details, and all the drama straight from the world of hip-hop's most talked about love triangle.